Hey everybody, it's Father Sean for another episode of the Couch Chat. And we're going to talk about the details of the parish, of bringing together the parishes, especially the finances. It seems like so much of our parish life has already been merged, has been brought together. So the next question, and maybe it's the biggest one on people's mind, is how's this going to work with money, with finances, with accounting, all of that sort of thing. So there's a number of things to communicate over a series of videos. But the first thing is actually how we came to these decisions, these recommendations, all of those sorts of things. So it happened last March, in March of 2023, where we called a meeting together of everybody who's on all 4 finance committees, our 12-person pastoral council, a couple key staff members, and then the chair of each parish's buildings and grounds committee. So we're talking roughly 40, 45 people were invited. Of course, not everybody can come. But as we kind of talked, we kind of went over some stuff. I had way too much material planned. I had like 7 pages and we didn't get through any of that. And that was, me being a little bit overly optimistic, but that's okay. But what came out of that meeting was really helpful. It was basically 6 questions that needed to be answered. Like 6 questions that were weighing on people's minds, 6 questions that we didn't exactly have the answer to, but we knew that we had to when we got to this point. So that was a really helpful thing to have these kind of 6, like, okay, this is what needs to be discussed. And it was all things related to buildings and grounds, to finances, to decision making, to our cemeteries, to what's going to happen in the lead up between now and the 1st of July 2024. So it was great to have those 6 questions come up, and maybe even like a 7th might slide in there just as I've been reflecting on it over the last couple months. But so then we had these questions, and we had to do something about them. But in this meeting, we realized not too much decision making or like solid discussion recommendation happens when 35 or 40 people are gathered around a table. So then we met on the 1st of May, which is fitting, the feast of St. Joseph, the worker. St. Joseph's always a good steward of what the Lord has given him. So we met on May 1st and had these questions. And there was 2 people from each finance committee that was invited, that was planning to come. Not everybody could make it even that night. Myself, business manager, her assistant. So we had maybe about 10 people, 8 to 10 people that were there, and just kind of hashed out all 6 of these questions, right? Weighing pros and cons, like, are we considering the right things? Are we answering people's questions? How is this going to be received? How do we communicate it? Is this the right thing? So that happened on the 1st of May. Typed it all up, kind of came up with the recommendation. So it was like the questions. Here was everything we considered. Here's the recommendation that we're giving. And that was great from this committee. So then in May, all 4 finance committees and buildings and grounds met. And so they had a chance to read the questions, the considerations this group had, and then the recommendations. And then the first Thursday in June, Pastoral Council met, got to hear kind of all of finance committee's thoughts, buildings and grounds, and hear all of this. And pretty satisfied with the discussions that were had. There was a couple like, hey, we need to clarify this better, or what does this actually mean? How are we going to communicate? How is this going to be received? All of those sorts of things. But overall, that from May to June was a pretty good process. That even after Pastoral Council met, we were planning on meeting the group that kind of hashed out all of these things again. But it got really no questions that needed to be kind of revisited, no things that were like, oh my gosh, we didn't think of that. So we basically had that, and praise God for everybody who was part of that. So I just want to thank everybody who was part of that. And so now we're kind of presenting those after they'd been received, they'd been recommended. Seems like a good plan, a solid plan, a lot was considered. So the next few videos will just kind of walk through those recommendations, the discussions, the considerations that everybody had. So, all right, that's enough for this video. We'll see you next week on the Couch Chat. Take care.